a positive outcome from this.
Since February, Seth Rogers has actively searched and advocated for his missing 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian went missing from his home in Hendersonville in February and has not been seen since. Earlier this month, Dwayne Chapman, better known as Dog the Bounty Hunter, and his team joined in on the search for Sebastian.
They bring an investigative team and they bring a legal team. And all of those things are things that were desperately needed.
Dog is also offering a $100,000 reward to anyone with information.
This is not the first rodeo for me finding a missing child.
But Dog and Seth say they have faced online threats that go beyond opinions.
It's really bad. I mean, they have threatened, Seth's family.
What Lesniak is doing is he is issuing cease and desists with a copy of the federal injunctions attached as a warning shot.
The law offices of Joseph Lesniak, representing Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, and Dog the Bounty Hunter, as well as several other individuals, cites 11 reasons for the cease and desist letter. Some of the examples include the encouragement of false allegations, flooding of false leads, undermining reward credibility, and interference with the search operation. Lesniak says going forward, he recommends social media users explicitly state that they are sharing their opinion, not fact.
We believe that this happened. My opinion is I allegedly, this is what I've heard. Those types of words then clue listeners into, okay, this is not fact, this is somebody's opinions.
Lesniak tells me continued legal action will be dependent on the response of the recipients and what his clients ultimately decide.
We are going to take every single one of these online troublemakers, bullies, or whatever that is, all the way to the woodshed, legally.
It's very hard to get your head around that he has not turned up after this long of a period of time. Do you believe he was abducted? Is he? What's your gut telling you now that you know enough and have invested enough here? What's your gut say?
Well, first of all, please call me Dog. That's okay to call me Dog. And there's a lot of possibilities. Okay, the worst possibility, of course, you could guess that. But we've checked into sex slaves. There's a lot of kids that are autistic that it's unbelievable, from 5 to 18 years old, little boys and little girls that are in the sex trade. They're catching them right now all over Tennessee. They just caught a kid, I think 8 or 9 years old, yesterday or the day before. So, we want to show those kids pictures of Sebastian. We want to show them those little kids got, sometimes they can ID someone a lot better than anyone else. So we want to show those kids pictures. But again, the ones that I guess found the kids is the TBI. I hate to sound redundant, but we need the federal marshals and we need the feds in on this.
You mentioned the Proudfoots, Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Katie Proudfoot, for those who haven't been following this, is the mother of Sebastian. She was the last person to see him. Chris, the stepfather, and we invited them on tonight. We did get a hold of them. They declined. Joe, there has.
They are. Of course they will.
Joe, there's been some pretty nasty rhetoric going on online. Not only, not just people attacking the Proudfoots, but Seth Rogers has been the victim here of a lot of hate. Where is that coming from?
I think a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. Chris, I think what happens is they get caught up in their own rhetoric, as you said, and their own story, and they want to try and create headlines. They want to try and create something that's not there. They create smoke, and then they point to the smoke that they created. And you're sitting there going, stop, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. And yet they don't care because the smoke generates more advertising, more smoke, and more people. And they have attacked not only Seth, but anybody who's aligned themselves with Seth Rogers. Seth is and Dog and all these individuals are trying to help find this young man, and they constantly are attacking anybody who's ever latched on to Seth Rogers and the search for Sebastian, and that should send up signals. I've been practicing the criminal defense and criminal prosecution world for almost 20 years, and prosecute sexual offenders and other types of cases, kidnapping cases, and it should send up a red flag to law enforcement of people who are degrading and putting down and trying to drag through the mud the people who are helping. And so these bloggers and these content creators, there are some that are very helpful and getting the name out and the information out. And then there are others who are just, like you said, dragging people through the mud for their own education and their own desires to get headlines and people to come and listen to them. And to me, as Andy Warhol said, everybody gets their 15 minutes of fame, but their 15 minutes are up. And we're tired of it. And we're not going to sit tight and let these people utilize these powerful platforms online to drag and defame individuals who are trying to find, one who's trying to desperately find his son, and others who are trying to find this young man on behalf of his father and his family. And so we have taken action, and we are moving forward in everything we can to stop it and continue doing investigation here, and that is to find Sebastian.
Doug, tell us about the roads that you've been walking along in your search. Would you kind of bring us into your world? What have you been doing on the ground there? Tell us a little bit about how your searching process goes, if you would, please.
Well, we don't have a crystal ball. I'm follow the words of Jesus. So, I can't look and say, Jesus, where is he? So the only roads to Rome are people that call in and leave tips. Someone else knows what happened. Absolutely. In a 10-year career, I've captured, or a 48-year career, I've captured more than 10,000 fugitives, and this is not my first rodeo looking for a lost child. We've been 100% successful in that. And the reason why is people need to call in and to tell us what's going on. We've got leads. A lot of leads are credible, and some leads are, Dog, when are you going to get a show? We love you, Dog. We love Francie. We love that. We love you too, but stay off the line. We need credible leads.
Absolutely. Well, you are beloved, Dog. I know you don't need me to tell you that. And
Thank you.
Believe me, everybody has the world of confidence in you. When we found out that you were joining the search, I was asking my power panel on the show, who are you going to bet on finding Sebastian, Dog or the FBI? And everybody's saying you. Everybody wants to take that bet with you. And so tell us, does that put any pressure on you? Tell me, does it fuel your fire? What do you think when you hear so much confidence from the public in you and in the work that you do?
Well, that incites me. I get all excited because I am the greatest bounty hunter in the world. No one can ever catch over 10,000 fugitives. No one. FBI works Monday through Friday. The marshals are the only ones come close, and they got to have 12. I'm sorry, marshals, but they're the more it just gets us excited, gets us crazy. And I have a team. My Francie helps me. Many people help me. Nick the Hat, my team, and then I have one of the greatest lawyers in the world for this particular subject. I mean, this guy is like, it's just incredible. So anywhere you go, you must have a good lawyer in this business. So please, let's pass this on to him.
Isn't that the truth? Well, and Bruce, I'm not just saying this. I said to Dog when we were doing his mic check right before the show, what a fine lawyer he has in you. So I know legally he's in great hands. Bruce, anything that you would like to add? I know you're here primarily to accompany Dog with this appearance. Is there anything that you think that's important to note with respect to the search and Dog's involvement in leading the charge to help Seth Rogers find Sebastian?
Well, as a more than 3-decade law enforcement official myself in Pennsylvania, the former district attorney and former attorney general, I know what the local authorities must be feeling and the frustration they must be feeling. And I know from my own experience that sometimes you need to rely on people like dog experts that are willing to give their time and energy to come and assist law enforcement in doing their job. And, you know, I'm stunned when I learned about the facts of this case that, you know, the young boy has left the home of his mother and his stepfather, and they don't seem to be particularly broken up about that. I'm sure that that is sticking in the minds of a lot of people and want to know what the answer to that is. I also was struck by the fact that the people doing the search, Dog, Nick the Hat, and some of the other people are facing death threats and other problems against their safety. And these are things that just can't happen. I mean, we need to encourage people when they put up money for reward to try to get people to call in. That's not any kind of impropriety. That's good citizenship. That's what we want to encourage. And people who do things to deter that are, in my judgment, not being good Americans. And we have very fine people, Dog and Nick and the whole crew are doing a tremendous job. And from where I sit, if it gets any worse, I'm going to recommend that they take legal action, because this is totally unreasonable. And law enforcement and the community working together will solve this crime.
Right. Oh, amen. Bruce, I am with you 100%. When you said death threats, right away my jaw dropped. That is criminal to do that, as you know. I, like yourself, served in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as a prosecutor, and anybody making those kind of threats should be held accountable legally. You are right. And the threats don't solve the problem, do they? All they do is take everybody a step back, the good people who are searching for this young boy.
And like, something is going on down in Tennessee, to be honest. Like, I don't know what, but like Tennessee, something fishy is going on. Because first, Joshua Zimmerman, right, like just left court, took everything, Mississippi, ran out of court for murder, took all the surveillance cameras, everything, found this guy in Chicago. Our team and Dog found this guy in Chicago, which they apprehended. And then this case. Like, how come every time that there's a case, something like this, it doesn't make sense and is all in like Mississippi, Tennessee, all of the weird places, small towns where these people are scared to talk to people that has money. And like these people that has money are thinking they could get away with anything that they want. Well, like, buddy, this is America. It's not supposed to work like that.